school teacher in Isiolo. He denies he's involved in terrorism, but admits some people on the list need to be questioned.
I believe there were some people who are genuinely supposed to be questioned because they were doing, or they are doing, I don't know if they are doing now, but they were doing business with Somalia in getting sugar. Sugar is under Al-Shabaab control in Somalia.
The Somali militant group's recruitment drive is still on in Kenya, much to the dismay of parents. They feel powerless against an enemy who can influence their sons and make them vanish, with no guarantee they will ever return home. Mohammed Yusuf for VOA News, Isiolo, Kenya.
Well, the latest airstrikes by the Saudi Arabia-led coalition in the Yemen capital, Sana'a, has killed dozens of pro-rebel forces. The coalition aims to cripple the Houthi insurgent group that overran parts of the country earlier this year. Reuters news agency says scores of civilians were among the casualties along the Saudi-Yemen border. Thousands have died since a regional air force coalition began an offensive against Houthi fighters in late March. Now, the growth of the Islamic State militant group in Iraq and Syria comes as the 2016 U.S. presidential campaign kicks off in the Midwest state of Iowa. As VOA's Ken Farabal reports, voters want to know how the candidates will handle recent militant gains in the Middle East.
It is one of the biggest issues on the minds of voters in Iowa, the growing threat of Islamic State militants in Iraq and Syria. Iowa voter Michael Downey is especially torn by the fall of Ramadi, where U.S. soldiers battled insurgents during the Iraq War.
The people who fought over there, they paid a price for that city. They've got to be heartbroken today. There are people who are injured and have lost family members, and today they have to ask a question. Was it worth it?
It is a question Downey knows well. His son Luke is a former U.S. Marine who served several combat deployments to Afghanistan.
And it is a sacrifice because whether it's your son or daughter, they're in harm's way, the mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters, they all pay a price too.
Downey and his son Luke attended a forum with former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee.
8,300 were wounded to take it.
And former U.S. Senator Rick Santorum in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Voters here want to know where the candidates stand on sending more ground forces back to Iraq.
You're in an area in the United States where a very high percentage of families serve, and so the sacrifice, and sometimes the ultimate sacrifice of losing your life for your country, is taken very seriously.
Democrat Jeff Danielson is an Iowa State Senator from Cedar Falls. He's also a veteran of the first Gulf War and serves on several Iowa committees for veterans. Danielson is running for local re-election next year alongside presidential candidates. He says possible U.S. involvement with places like Iraq and Afghanistan tops the list of concerns voters have discussed with him.
Foreign policy is one of the reasons people vote for a president, so it's always going to be highly salient. It's probably equal to the economy and domestic issues when it comes to thinking about who you're voting for.